You could turn in your Bibles to
Somebody once told me, hey now, what a concept. Somebody once told me, I said yeah. Go for the moon.
Hello, welcome back to Somebody Once Told Me, the podcast where we explore the voice of Christ and his church in the book of Psalms. We're on Psalm 6.
Psalm 6.
We did a little overview episode of it.
The one with the wetting of the bed.
The one with the wetting of the bed with tears. Must add that.
In brackets with tears.
Now we're looking at the first three verses. So let me read them again, Aaron, and then you say what you're thinking about them. O Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger, or discipline me in your wrath. Be merciful to me, Lord, for I am faint. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are in agony. My soul is in anguish. How long, O Lord? How long?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the first of the Psalms which asks of the Lord, asks of the Father, how long. So we, I think it's Psalm 4 or Psalm 5, Jesus asks of his enemies, how long will you
That's good,
be
yeah.
like this? But this is the first psalm which he asks the Father, Lord, how long? So you get a sense of the separation that he's feeling in this psalm.
Yeah.
And it's that separation that he does feel in Gethsemane. Which is why, like I said in the last pod, a lot of people will point out that maybe this was one in which he prayed in the garden. Yeah.
Yeah. How long as a phrase I always link with lamentation.
Yeah.
Like the book of Lamentations, the word how,
Yeah.
which I think the Hebrew word is eka, like a guttural sound of
Yes.
like how, you know.
This is the first psalm with an eka.
Yeah, directed to the Lord.
Yeah.
As you said, yeah, he's done it to his enemies, but then actually going to the Lord like that. And it's just interesting thinking how Jesus, who has been from everlasting with the Father, I mean, I doubt he'd ever have prayed like that in the highest heaven, you know, to his Father.
No, he didn't.
But here on earth, now there's this whole new... This is him,
Yeah.
you know, he had to learn obedience through what he suffered.
Yeah.
You know, this is a him taking on our flesh and our weaknesses,
Yeah.
but then going deeper than any other human has ever been
Yeah.
in this darkness,
Yeah.
and therefore learning how to be our great high priest and able to
Yeah.
sympathize with whatever weakness we're going through. It sort of creates all that in my mind, these verses.
Yeah, it does, and it's supposed to, and it's supposed to be the first psalm which you really realise, wow, the depths of woe in which Jesus, plummeted, on his road to atoning for our sin, whilst atoning for our sin, and there are other psalms then we'll encounter with ekhas, like the one I always think of is Psalm 13, isn't it? How long will you forget me, Lord? Yeah, so
exactly,
that's the other one. But yeah, you get a sense of the anguish here and the physical effect of bearing our sin. His bones are in...
Yeah, his
in
bones
agony.
are in agony. His soul is in anguish. It is as if every facet of his being is in turmoil. That is where he's coming from. It's super dark, isn't it? Where he's at. So I think it makes perfect sense. I can see him on his knees in the Garden of Gethsemane praying this.
Yeah.
I mean, what I don't know if you want to get there now, but the big thing we want to do with this is we want to help our church to pray these psalms.
Yeah.
And one thing that strikes me, Aaron, is, day by day you might go, I don't feel this. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, because I think that would be striking. It's like, this doesn't really match. Okay, we're meant to pray this month, but it doesn't really match where I'm at.
Yeah.
How much does that matter? Does it matter, Yeah. What do you think about all that?
I think the reason why we struggle with identifying with psalms like this, perhaps, is because we don't take sin seriously.
Yeah.
But I do think that we do feel physically tired and weary. I do think a lot of people in our church family, me included, I feel physically drained sometimes. I feel I feel so trouble. And sometimes I think, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling so tired? I know sometimes it's because I've not slept in the night because of the kids.
Yeah. But not always.
But not always, yeah. And sometimes you just feel weary and downcast for no reason. And then I realized I've not once looked to Jesus today. I've not once prayed to the Father, but I have indulged myself in plenty of TV and, sinful thoughts, or, I've been horrible towards Izzy and the kids. I've not been there and support for them. And then you realize, there's a link between like sin and how you feel physically and spiritually. So we don't realize how sinful we are.
Yeah. And I think maybe also in these Psalms, we learn a lot about God, the Father, I suppose, because Lord, don't rebuke me in your anger. It's like, whoa, just remembering here that it's, as Hebrews says, it's an awful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, Yeah. He's our Father. But also, this is the thing, if you, have had a good relationship with your Father, there's all that friendly, loving intimacy side, but there's this other side where I don't want him to be angry with me. And actually it's awful when he is, And I think if that's true of our fathers, how much more of the Father in heaven.
Yeah.
And we just are like, we're more terrified someone we know will find out about our sin, and we don't even care about the fact that God already knows it.
And he sees it.
And that should be the thing that really terrifies us, actually, So we, in praying this, I think you also learn who God is, don't you?
Yeah.
It gives us words to pray.
Who God is. Yeah. You learn a lot about what Jesus endured, the person of Christ, and, as he endures the wrath of God and bears our sin, and learn a lot about yourself, hopefully, as well. Something you said that just made me think of hell, how with the gnashing of teeth and the anguish and it's almost like Jesus is experiencing, because he's experiencing separation here. That is what people in hell will experience, eternal separation, and it's this sort of experience they will have where they this be an agony.
And the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It is actually such a wise thing to remember that our God is a God of justice and his law. We don't want to be just continuing in sin against him. So this is very present in the mind of Jesus. He prays here.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just one thing, isn't it? So my question was, I don't really feel this, and so praying it's weird because it's like I just don't feel like I'm in agony.
Yeah, because we don't realize how much sinners we are.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, and I think regardless of how we feel, like we do this with the Lord's Prayer, I might not feel like He is my Father in heaven.
Yeah.
But Jesus says, don't worry about that. Pray this.
Yeah.
You might, not see him as that, but that's who he is, and pray that. And I think, again, with this, it's like, you might not feel these things.
Not as intensely as this, but we still get to enter in, and we should confess sin. And we do that in the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our sins. And remember what we said about the Lord's Prayer, how it almost extrapolates from the Psalms, and this psalm would come under that category.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes. Of forgive us our debts or forgive us our trespasses.
Yeah,
or,
sorry. Forgive us our trespasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, should we leave it there for this one?
Yeah.
And we'll do on the next one, verse 4 and 5.
Somebody once told me